Hello, I'm Dr. Garrett Boyer. Welcome back to Gospel Minded, where we'll take a few minutes and reflect on themes related to psychological well-being, behavioral, emotional health, as these themes emerge out of the Gospel reading for the week. Again, this isn't a substitute for any work you might be doing with a cleric or with a counselor, but these worlds do oftentimes intersect, the spiritual world and the behavioral health world. And this week, the gospel reading, that presentation scene, wow, lots to talk about and unpack from that. So today is December 31st. It's the feast of the Holy Family, which we celebrated this morning. It's also the vigil of Mary, Mother of God, and it's New Year's Eve. So what a special time, what a special day, especially this year with December 31st falling on a Sunday. You know, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, it's a time to kind of take a minute and pause, reflect on everything that happened throughout the course of the year, think about where we've been, and then consider where we want to go the next year, what we want to accomplish, what we want to do, what we would like to see happen. I think in our gospel reading today, that scene from the presentation, it kind of ties in with this celebration of New Year's. So here's this scene from the gospel reading where the Lord is brought to the temple to be dedicated to the Father. And who's there? Simeon. Simeon is there, and he's been there for over 30 years because it was said that he would not die until he had seen the Christ child. And so finally, in this scene from the gospel reading today, he sees the child Jesus and he takes the babe into his arms and says, "Lord, now you can let your servant go in peace." Talk about getting closure, especially after so many years. Here we are coming to the end of the calendar year, 2023. I hope there's some closure with everything that happened in the year for you. But maybe there isn't. I know I personally had a very challenging year, very stressful, and a lot of things didn't go my way. Nevertheless, there's closure in that as well, knowing that 2023 now is coming to an end, and I can work towards things in a different way in 2024. So here's Simeon now, getting this closure. He had waited and waited. Now he sees the Christ child, and now the next chapter can begin. Whatever that looked like for Simeon, I'm not sure. But I do know for me and for you, with the close of 2023, now we prepare to usher in 2024. And so if things didn't go your way in 2023, so be it. We don't have to give up. We can start new again with a blank slate. And so I'm heartened by that we get a second chance. I remember that line from Forrest Gump when they're celebrating New Year's and that lady says, "Don't you just love it? Everybody gets a second chance." And that's true. So we are getting a new chance. The calendar year is changing and we can approach things in a different way in 2024. And so plenty of things are outside of our control. Look at Simeon. Look at that timing. He waited for over 30 years outside of his control. There's a lot that probably happened to you in 2023 that was out of your control. Certainly that was the case for me. But there are some things that we do have control over and that we can control. And with that in mind now, looking forward to 2024, what do we want to do? We hear about people making New Year's resolutions around this time and making plans, and folks get these ideas for what they want to do in the new year, how they want things to look. I referenced in one of my other episodes SMART goals, and I'd like to go into that a little bit more in depth in today's episode, because I think a lot of times people get to New Year's Day all gung-ho to make some changes and start the new year off on the right foot, and then maybe after a week or a couple weeks, all those big ideas and those great plans, those things that folks wanted to see happen, kind of fade away or fizzle out. Probably partly because we don't have a great plan. We aren't making SMART goals. And so let's talk about what exactly is a SMART goal. Maybe you've heard of it. SMART is an acronym. It stands for setting up goals or trying to achieve tasks that are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and then timely. So what do we mean by all of that? So first of all, specific. It's one thing to say, I want to lose weight in the new year. I'd like to lose some weight. Try and be more specific about what it is that you're wanting to achieve. I want to lose 15 pounds by July 1st. I want to lose 30 pounds by next November. I think if you have something very concrete and specific in mind, it's more helpful. And whatever our goal is, whatever we're trying to achieve or what we would like to see happen in this new year, be specific about it and intentional in that way. So specific, and then measurable. You can't just set a goal or an aspiration that you can't track if you're actually making progress. Weight is a good example because we actually can measure with the scale and we can see, am I on track? Am I dropping pounds? Say you want to do more reading. I want to read new books in the new year. You can measure by seeing how many books you've completed, how many books you're in the process of working through, and there are ways to measure that. So whatever your goal is, make sure that it's something that you can actually measure and track. And then achievable. There are a lot of things that I would love to see happen. I've got a lot of goals or aspirations, ideals, but so many things that are in my mind I know aren't actually achievable with the resources that I have available right now, with the time that I have available right now. We have to pick goals and set goals that we know we actually have the capacity to achieve and that we have the resources or the time or the material to achieve as well. And then realistic. I think plenty of times we'll have an idea pop up into our head like, wow, wouldn't this be great if I could do this or that? Or wouldn't it be remarkable if this could happen? But sometimes our ideas just aren't grounded in reality. They just aren't realistic. And so when we're setting up goals, we want to make sure that we're setting up goals that are grounded in reality. And not just that the goal itself is realistic, but that goal is realistic for me right now. That this is something that I can do. Like, it wouldn't be realistic for somebody who is not an author or never engaged in formal literature or writing to say, by May this year, I want to publish a book. Sounds great. That'd be awesome. But for most people, that's just not realistic. So pick a realistic goal. And then finally, that timely piece. I already alluded to this a little bit earlier. Again, there are a lot of things that are out of our control. And sometimes the timely element is one of those wild cards or one of those things that is going to perhaps surprise us or stop us up, because timing is difficult, and especially in the context of the Christian faith. God's timing isn't always our timing. I'm sure Simeon would have preferred to have met the Messiah earlier, but it wasn't God's timing. And so when we're setting up our goals too, be conscientious of the time. We want to pick goals that we know we can achieve in a set period of time. And so set those markers, like by April 1st, I would like to see this happen, or then by August, timely, but then also just making sure that for me, the timing makes sense here and now, and that, God willing, our timing will match up with providence and God's timing. So here we are, 2023, farewell. and welcome 2024. Hopefully you and I can both set up some SMART goals and have a blessed year together. Again, like last week, I wished you a Merry Christmas. This week, from my family to yours, I want to wish you a very happy New Year. And I thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Gospel Minded. Again, I'm Dr. Garrett Boyer. Thank you for listening. Take care.